Jasmine Crockett is ratcheting up her ratchetry. Other Democrat representatives come unglued defending criminal illegal aliens. And the most vile person on MSNBC did what I thought may be impossible. She unlocked a new low. It's time for my losers of the week. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the Tomi Lahren is Fearless YouTube page at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. The show starts now. It's been quite the week for Democrats, and when I say quite the week, I mean they've literally been digging, excavating, really, for new and embarrassing lows. I thought November 6th, 2024 was a low point for Democrats, and then January 20th turned out to be worse, but low and literally low and behold, Tuesday, March 4th, Fat Tuesday to be exact, the Democrat Party found a way to go lower on the moral limbo than ever before. This week, all of my losers fit into their own special category, girls gone wild, and not in the fun spring break kind of way. So speaking of lowbrow, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the ratchetest one of all? Spoiler alert, it's Jasmine Crockett.
Hey y'all, so I am standing here with some of the bravest people that you could ever want to be in a fight with. Listen, he up there, he's hearing all kinds of nonsense and bull. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for we wouldn't, you know, we showed up. And if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense. This is not what we should be doing. I don't even know why we fighting with Greenland. Why we fighting with Greenland? We fighting with Canada. We fighting with Mexico. Yet we in love with Putin. What is happening? Like, this is not America. This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the up because I'm ready to get on with it.
If you could tell Donald Trump anything tonight, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe. That while we may not have the numbers just yet, that doesn't mean that we don't have fight left in our bodies. And so I am going to fight him every step of the way until we get what we deserve, because it was my ancestors that built this mother. Okay.
You know, folks, I'm not a prude. F-bombs and swear words don't faze me. In my personal capacity, and much to my father's dismay, I'm actually a big fan of ye old four-letter word. However, for a sitting member of the United States Congress to repeatedly speak that way, whether it be for effect or attention, or just out of pure disrespect to herself and her office, I'm disgusted by the behavior. Davy Crockett, though of no verifiable relation, is turning in his grave, and so are our founding fathers. What a low-brow individual, my God. But she is far from the only Democrat to show her whole ass this week and every week, frankly. It's become somewhat of a theme that should embarrass them, but somehow it does not. But in the latest entry in the Chronicles of Dumbass Democrats, here are Democrat Congresswomen continuing to come unglued in their rabid defense of sanctuary cities and criminal illegal aliens.
It's total bull, absolute bull. They are not making America safer again, and what they are doing is terrorizing immigrant families.
Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born Americans commit more rape and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this trend of you all trying to get thrown out of committee so you can get on MSNBC is going to end. We're not going to put up with it.
This is my procedural right.
Getting so hot and bothered in your pursuit to defend the shielding of criminal alien rapists and murderers that you act that way at an official proceeding. Damn, I wish these Democrat ladies had the same energy for protecting Americans, or I don't know, women and girls in their sports and spaces. That'll be the day. But not all of my losers this week hail from Democrat elected office. My last loser is the most vile person on television this week, and that's hard to do going up against Rachel Maddow and the ladies of The View. Oh, but Nicolle Wallace won this award in a cataclysmic landslide.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ, and I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
I feel sick watching that clip, like I need to take a scalding hot shower. Imagine being so sick and twisted you'd really be willing to exploit a young cancer survivor on national TV and in the same breath facetiously hope he doesn't commit suicide? That's low. And then there's a low. And then there's Nicolle Wallace sitting in the dustbin of cable news. It's just icky. Joining me now to opine on all of that, plus a few other losers this week, the Beau Show host, Beau Davidson. All right, Beau, Democrats, they're acting a fool this week. Normally, I would say just let them, right? Let them act a fool. Let them be stupid. But then it just comes to a point where it's like, okay, is someone going to, say uncle here? Like, this is getting to be a new level of just disgusting.
It's a bad reality show, Tommy. It's like you're watching something appear before your eyes and you can't believe how bad it's gotten. You talked about the 4-letter words. I mean, I've been known to drop them every now and then. I'm trying to give them up for Lent. But the bottom line is my mom always told me, you're cursing pretty much when you have a lack of command of the English language. It becomes common. It becomes common speak. And unfortunately, I think that music culture have normalized this in a lot of ways. But for a sitting congressmen and congresswomen to do this, I think resorts us to a base level of normalcy. And I think that's really a sad state of affairs because it just shows you they don't have the acumen. They don't have the cogent thoughts to be able to express themselves, that they feel that this is what they have to do. So every one of the losers that you just played, and unfortunately, mostly women, have resorted to a level of commonness that I think is a unfortunate state of where we are in America today.
And you know what else I think it is, Beau? I think that the rise of social media popularity and clips going viral, I think whereas maybe at some point a sitting member of Congress, an elected official, somebody with a public stature would be horrified if a hot mic moment of them swearing or acting a whole ass got out. They would be mortified by that. But we're in 2025, and I feel like a lot of these people, they do it on purpose because they want the clips to go viral. They want to feel famous, and this is their way to go about it. It's saying the F word. It's saying that Donald Trump is Putin's hoe. Like, I really do feel like Jasmine, Crockett, and others do this specifically for the attention it brings them. And, if you want to get attention, there are several outlets for that. You can start a podcast. You can be on reality television. You can be on OnlyFans. But to use the United States Congress as your outlet for that to me is what I find just a sign of the times, but also just real disappointing.
Yeah, it's a sad state. And I think it speaks to what you just said, which is sensationalism. We've come to a place of outrage porn where everything that we do has to be a viral moment. Everybody wants the camera and wants the attention. And you speak to a very honest truth, which is that social media has conditioned us to finding whatever is viral of the moment. And if that's a curse word, if that means doing something outlandish, if it means doing OnlyFans and going to nursing homes, then that's exactly where we're at. That sensationalism is the new norm. And unfortunately, that numbs us out as a society.
I'm glad you brought up the OnlyFans, nasty girl. We're going to get to that. But first, I want to wrap up our conversation on these Democrat influencers here. There's so many to choose from. Let's go to just one from this morning. So I'm sure you saw the joint session. You saw Al Green acting just a whole fool because that's just typical for him. I mean, again, he wanted his moment. He wanted to shake his cane, whatever. Well, then he was officially censured for that this morning in Congress. And Democrats thought, you know what we'll do? The songs and the dances have been working out so well for us. Let's just do it again. So they decided to disrupt an official proceeding again this morning. Let's take a look for those who may have been lucky enough to miss it.
The House to come to order. Clear the well, please. Clear the well. The House has to continue its business. Just say the House is in recess. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the House will stand in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
They're singing, I believe, We Shall Overcome. Not sure what you're overcoming, but again, another ploy to garner attention. What do you make of those individuals?
Well, it's like you said, we shall overcome. We've heard this song literally before. And at what point do we overcome? At what point you had the first African-American president? There's so many milestones that we have overcome as a society. So at what point, how much must continue is what I'm trying to say. And I think that these disruptions, and you think about Al Green, where I'm from, Tommy, in Memphis, there's only one Al Green. We don't want Timu Al Green. For people to call him an elderly black man, to say that that's a racism, a gesture of racism, to say that Joe Biden, to criticize him is ageism. Not everything has to be an ism, Tommy. It's just is. And but they're unfortunately demented by the same reality, which is liberalism, unfortunately. What you're saying is speaking to exactly what we just talked about, trying to garner the moment, trying to get some sort of attention. And that's like what a teenager would do. That's what we've devolved into as a society. And unfortunately, it's trickled up all throughout the halls of Congress. So what I say is to Mr. Al Green, go back to your district, go back home to your family. You masquerading as a congressman is not what we need. You need to be replaced by someone who's actually going to fight for the American people and not create histrionics.
Well, and a lot has been made too of how they get these moments to either go viral, go on MSNBC and talk about, their valiant effort to be jackasses, or they fundraise off of it. They're like, look at me, I was censured and they're coming after me because I'm an elderly black man. Nothing to do, buddy, with your age or your race. You stood up in the middle of a presidential address and you shook your cane and you were asked repeatedly to sit down and shut up and you refused to do it. And so you were escorted out. The fact that they feel that they are so entitled and somehow their race or their age or the letter behind their name gives them a get out of jail free card to act like that. To me, that's just not only undignified, but it's a real insult to people that actually have fought for civil rights, that have actually had to go through things because of their age or their race or their gender. They're really stupid. You mentioned the whole thing of it's racist to throw them out. That was Latifah Simon of California that made that pledge. I won't make you listen to it because I've had about my fill of this. Let's go to something, I don't know, maybe a little more fun. It's also in the influencer category. Chris Mowrey, he's a big Kamala guy, was a big Joe guy, then a Kamala, and then now I'm not really sure. But I want to play a clip of him with Senator Cory Booker and what I think might be a tickle fight. Take a look.
You know what's so funny?
He said, I'm not tired. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
I am charged up.
I like that.
Yeah, seriously, I'm charged up.
I mean, that also feels like such a phony, baloney little moment there. I don't know why I don't know. I don't get it. What is this?
He's so phony, Tommy. He's just so phony. And, Spartacus strikes again. I find that ironic, really, because I believe it was 1992 in Stanford where Cory Booker was trying to steal second base, if you remember that. And, here he is in the Brett Kavanaugh hearing trying to say that this man had, sexually assaulted some woman. Yet of that room, he was the only one apparently that had admitted to doing something he shouldn't do. So I don't know, Tommy, maybe he's trying to steal a little second base with Chris Mowrey. I don't know. That's just what it looks like to me. I find him awkward. I find him phony. But, he is a DNA relative of RuPaul. Let's not forget that. So what exactly do you expect from this guy?
Wow, I didn't know that. Well, things are making a little bit more sense here. I have a couple more Democrats because they're just so embarrassing. Like if I were like a normal Democrat, and there are normal Democrats that exist, I would be looking at the people in my party that are getting all the attention, and I would frankly be so embarrassed. I would either become a Republican or I would just quit. But for some reason, they've decided they're going to circle the wagons and allow the circus to continue. There was, of course, the purple hair lady, DeLauro. If you look up, like, what does an older white liberal look like? There's probably a picture of her here. Let's take a listen to her gripes and complaints.
I was really stunned that the election was fought over the cost of living and families who live paycheck to paycheck, concerned about whether or not they were going to be able to pay their bills, be able to pay for their health care, in some cases even putting food on the table. And The address tonight didn't address any of those issues about cost of living and the fact that people live paycheck to paycheck. And what we ought to be doing in the Congress is to make sure that we are helping people to secure an economic future for themselves and their families. I found the speech to be vengeful, revengeful, and instead of being lifting the hopes and the aspirations of people of the United States.
Now, I'm going to be fair. The way that she delivered that was better than some. I can't get past the purple hair there. I don't know if she's going to tell me my fortune. I would never go near her if she was holding an apple. She looks like she could be part of the new Snow White movie, which is also going to tank, by the way. But I just don't understand why they're platforming these people as the leaders of their party after what happened in the 2024 election. Like, you'd think that they would go maybe a more milquetoast way and maybe a more moderate way, and maybe that would do something for them. But why do you think they're choosing not to do that?
I don't know. I think this is just a new Democrat Party. I think it's imploding before our very eyes. I think that DeLauro looks like she's going to be in the next derelict fashion line by Mugatu and Zoolander 3, to be honest with you. I hate to attack someone's appearance, Tommy, but how do you take someone like that seriously? It just doesn't make sense to me. And she's supposed to be in charge of the Democrats' rapid response team? Like, rapid response to what? A bird flying in her coat? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm all for being who you are, living your truth, dressing like you want to, but it's just very hard to take someone seriously. The same way it's hard to take Al Green seriously when he's sitting up there waving his cane, raising cane, waving his cane, whatever you want to call it. And I just think that it's hard to take someone seriously. Yes, she spoke more coherently than most have, a lot of your losers of the week, but at the same time, I just can't take her seriously. And I don't know why anyone in her district would take her seriously looking like that.
It's so wild. Again, this is a interesting country with a lot of different people. I guess we are a melting pot and the meek shall inherit the earth. I don't know if this was the biblical reference we were going for, but there it is. So I want to turn to something that I think is much better, and that is what I feel is not only the best moment of the week, maybe the best moment of the year thus far, and that's DJ. You know, we talked about Nicolle Wallace, how disgusting she is, but I want to take a moment more so to honor DJ and what I think was the most beautiful moment I've ever seen at one of these addresses. Let's take a look to just cleanse our eyeballs from the purple hair lady.
What a good-looking family, huh?
There's one more thing I got for you, a big hug.
Okay, good. That's very nice. Look at that family you got, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very nice. How are you? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. That was a big evening last night, right?
Yes, it was.
That was a big evening.
Wow. I love it. And you know what I love? Not only DJ, who's obviously an inspiration and what a great kid there, but I think this shows for everybody who wants to call President Trump a Hitler, Nazi, you know, he's this horrible person. And here he is getting a hug from a 13-year-old that only wants to be a law enforcement officer. This to me also highlights how wonderful, empathetic, and truly compassionate President Trump is.
It's a moment of beautiful American apple pie. This is a chapter of Americana. And the fact that Democrats can't stand for it shows you their true colors. And I mean this in two ways. They can't just stand for it, literally. They can't stand it. They can't stand that a young Black boy is in there who has terminal cancer and who's beating it, is in the Oval Office hugging President Trump, the heartless President Trump, as you said, the Nazi President Trump. They can't stand the idea that he could possibly have compassion for this young man. I think that it speaks so poorly of Democrats and how they are. They think Trump is so heartless and he's not. And to DJ, to know your goals, to know your aspirations, your ambitions, to know you want to become a law enforcement officer, as difficult as that is in today's society, man, I salute you. I think that's so admirable. And it's just, again, this slice of American pie that we see that is just juicy. It's amazing. It is such a great chapter in our history that one party looks really bad on.
Yeah. You know, for the life of me, I really can't figure out what their calculus was the whole night, but especially not standing, not cheering loudly for DJ, for Alexis Nungary, for Laken Riley's family, for Mark Fogel, who was a returned, foreign prisoner. for the announcement that the terrorists who coordinated the attack at Abbey Gate, they killed 13 U.S. service members, they didn't stand for that either. I don't know what the strategy is for them in not doing that. Those seem like pretty easy moments. I don't expect you to stand for deporting criminal aliens or cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. We get it. That's not your thing. But the easy moments, I can't imagine being on the opposing side and thinking that that's a good look. And I don't know what the end game is for the Democrat Party. If you were to give them some advice, what would you tell them, Beau?
I would tell them, grow some cojones. I would say have some heart.
Well, listen,
I
Beau,
would say
listen, I don't think you should tell them that because they already want the cojones in the women's sports. So they don't have a problem with that.
That's
true.
true.
Maybe they need to grow something
That's
else.
true.
I don't know. But that they don't have a problem with. And like, we need to, less advice on that. I think they've got that area just locked down, Beau.
You know what I would say? I'd say go back to your district. Go to the local coffee shop. Go to your library. Go to a local play. And you'll find what America's really about. It's right there. That's where the heart and soul of it is. If you saw at a play, if someone was being acknowledged, a law enforcement officer or a law enforcement officer's wife that had just been killed, you would stand up. You would have heart. And that's where I think is what Congress forgets, is who they represent. It's not all about the bureaucracy of Washington, D.C. You go back home to your district and you talk to people, you listen to people. The heart is right there. That's the heart and soul of the American people. That's who they need to be listening to, rather than these ridiculous histrionics that they're putting on display in joint sessions of Congress. I know that it's there. You know that it's there. They know that it's there. They just cannot give Trump the win. They feel like to acquiesce to him is to give him a victory, when in reality, everyone should cheer for DJ Daniel. Everyone should cheer for Jocelyn Nungaray and the fact that we're doing something about the border, but they just don't want to give him the win.
They don't. And it's real stupid for them if they ever want to win again. I mean, I don't know the calculus. I said we were going to be done with the Democrats, but I got one more I saw this morning that I got to play for you. Not only are they vile, they're just so freaking corny. This is their little attempt at going viral with a video about choosing your fighter. We can't play the music behind it due to copyright reasons, but I think you get the gist. Some of them don't even know how to get into a fighter's stance. Some of them look like they're just trying to go to the bathroom. That one in particular, of course, you got Jasmine in there. She's got to be everywhere. But, I mean, they used to be in command of culture. Democrats used to be the cool party. They were in charge of, starting and igniting the cultural conversation. Republicans were the old crusty white guys that were corny, that, had a pocket protector and glasses and bald heads. But the Democrats, they've lost the culture. I don't think they're ever going to get it back, Beau.
No, and I think it's cringe. And here's the funny thing about this. They're all fighters, right? They're women fighting for what? Not for women's rights, especially in sports. You put a transgender 250-pound guy in there and duke it out with them, we'll see what happens. Try that. Is that the kind of fight you want? I don't think so. So I find it highly ironic that all these women are putting their dukes up. Oh, we're going to fight. But they're not even fighting for women. You look at what the Senate Democrats did. Fetterman voting for it. It's ridiculous. So these women in this cringe video is just, of course, a testament to how cringe Democrats have become. But the irony of it is that if they got in the ring, a UFC ring, with a dude who's pretending and masquerading to be a woman, I don't think the fight would be too pretty.
No, I mean, I don't even think they could take on most women, if I'm being honest with you. Whatever that was, like, if that's the best they got, man, they might never win again, which is fine with me, but also just sad for our country. You brought up early in the show the OnlyFans person. I know she has a name, but I don't really care about it. I just call her the OnlyFans nasty, nasty woman. But in another attempt to, I don't know, be philanthropic, she's now going to nursing homes to cheer people up. Now, listen, I'm all for going and giving the nursing home folks some excitement in your day, but using them as props for your porn, I'm not so sure that that's accomplishing the philanthropic goal that perhaps she intended, or at least is advertising it to be.
Yeah, and this is what we talked about earlier, Tommy, is sensationalism. You have food porn, you have outrage porn, and now you have porn. And what I mean by that is there's a sensationalism around it. How many guys can I sleep with? What's the oldest guy I can sleep with? What's the youngest guy I can sleep with? And she thinks this is charity. I mean, she's creating a sense of one-upsmanship. And need I remind this OnlyFans model, I'm sure you know this, that nursing homes are some of the biggest breeders of STDs. I don't know if she knows that or not, but she might want to consider that. She's a multimillionaire from doing this, so there's an incentive to do it. And I think she said there's no amount of money that would get me to stop this, that this was a hobby of hers and that it's not outrageous anymore. That speaks to what I said earlier about the numbness that has happened. She's numb to it because it's so widespread. And now as a society, we in turn are also numb to it because we think this is normal. There's a certain normalcy that's created by it. And unfortunately, there's a certain financial incentive to do it as well. So every viral moment, STD included, is now part of the normalcy of the culture. And that is an absolutely detriment to this country and where we are as a society.
It's gross. And you know what? I think a lot of our problems would be solved not only with better parenting, but also a healthy sense of shame. I think people need to be ashamed of themselves, and I think that they need to be publicly shamed. And they say, oh, don't slut shame people. Don't, people need to live in their truth and be whatever they want to be. No, I think we should shame people. I think people who do disgusting things, I don't think they should be canceled, but I think they should be shamed publicly. And I think we should look at this and be like, this is gross. This is disgusting. It's not only not normal, but it's abhorrent. And you shouldn't aspire to be this. And we should also be telling young women and young girls who want to be famous for something that requires talent or intellect or a skill. Don't be famous for you can make a lot of money by really playing to the lowest common denominator, which is just your sexuality. It's gross. These people are gross. And I don't think there's a play for this once she gets a few years older, but God help me, there's a lot of weird fetishes, so I don't even want to get into it. But God, the dustbin of history is where these people belong. Beau, the last thing I got to ask you is this. In a couple of weeks, I believe, the Snow White movie is coming out. Are you going to see it?
No. I think that's the simple answer to it. No, I'm not interested in that. I'm actually more interested in House of David that Amazon Prime and MGM have. I think it's great that faith stories are coming back. They get it from a certain book. I think you and I know it. It's called the Bible. And I think we need to see more storytelling that comes from that book. I'm very entertained and also inspired by that.
And also, just as we're having a little cultural wrap-up that's not political at all, I don't know if you've seen the hit Hulu show Paradise, but I highly recommend. It's one of the best shows that I've seen, and I'm not a big fan of scripted television, but it's a great one. And it reminds me a lot of what they did to us during COVID, locking us away, making us fearful of the outside. If you haven't checked it out, to you, Beau, and to my audience, please go check it out. I think it's a great show. And also, I like a little trash television. I just like it on Bravo, not in the United States Congress. But Beau, I always appreciate you and your godly perspective. Thanks so much for joining me today. I also love your blazer. God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon.
God bless you too, Tomi. Thank you.
Thank you. Folks, that does it for this Thursday episode of Tomi Lahren is Fearless. I'll see you right back here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for a very special deep dive into education, or maybe miseducation, and what President Donald Trump can do to hopefully fix it. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. From Nashville, God bless and take care. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want more of my hottest takes, must-see conversations, and of course, my final thoughts, click here and make sure you subscribe here so you never miss a beat. I'll be here every weekday, and I hope you'll join me.